Children or careers? Women could not have both, or so many thought.
Could one marry and have a career? Often the way that people did it was by choosing not to have children, or perhaps only having one child.
This choice to limit families troubled many women, including writer and reformer Charlotte Perkins Gilman.
Motherhood is a woman's first duty.
There was irony in Gilman's words because as a young woman she had struggled with conventional expectations.
Here I am in the world, conscious, able to do this or that. How does it work? What ought I to do?
As a young woman, Charlotte was courted by a good-looking artist named Walter Stetson. She agonized over whether or not to marry him, protesting that she needed freedom and that marriage and motherhood demanded sacrifice. In spite of her qualms, she and Stetson married, but their union was troubled from the beginning. When they divorced, she gave up custody of their daughter. For that decision, Gilman would be publicly criticized throughout her life. Eventually, Gilman remarried, her first cousin and childhood friend, Houghton Gilman. Charlotte Perkins Gilman was one of the first to cast a sharp eye on the relationship between men and women. She then devised a blueprint for a more equitable way of cohabitating.
The great trouble is that most people confuse motherhood with housework. The least efficient, most wasteful labor is that of every man for himself. The next lowest is every woman for her man. Every man, to the poorest, thinks he must have one whole woman to cook for him, and they both think it is economical. If they were not women, these innumerable cooks, this 50% of the human race deliberately set aside to cook for the other 50, no sane economist could bear the thought of such a colossal waste of labor. If each man did for himself the work he expects of his woman, there would be no wealth in the world, only millions and millions of poor, tired men. As things are now, a man marries a woman loving and revering her. But on account of woman's dependence on man, she has to do the housework and becomes merely his domestic, his cook. What man can revere his cook? But you may say, the man works for her. Why should she not work for him? It's not true. The man works for the world, and the world pays him for his work, which the man uses to support the woman who works for him. The whole thing boils itself down to the fact that if the man dies, the woman loses her job. The element of waste has not been considered because we are not accustomed to women's work as having any cash value.